Hey everybody, Wayne's Workshop here, and in this week's video I'm going to show you how I made this guy right here. This is one of the heads or sides of Space Lord Lyric's mallet. He has 4 of these, and in last week's video I unfolded the boot for him. It's the basic same techniques that I applied to unfold this guy right here. But in Heroes of the Storm models, a lot of the details are all in the textures. They're not in the 3D model. So I'll show you how to convert it or how to layer your foam into getting those details in your cosplay. So layering, and what by layering I mean, when you look at this model right here, you can see the base thing, of course, and then you can see this plastic here, and it's in a recessed area, and then you have this upper area right here, all the details that go on top. This video will entail having a base model and working from the inside to the outside. So first things first, you got to cut out your templates and you got to trace them onto your foam, then cut them out, and not to forget, of course, where all the fold lines should be. If you're kind of new to Pepakura building, I have a video on that. You can check that out at the end of this video. I'll put down the link. I'll also put a link down in the description. If you are still new to Pepakura building, you can check that out and learn a thing or two. Once you've all cut it out, it should look like something like this, and then assemble it. Again, this is entailed in the how to build with Pepakura video. When you have that done, you might want to start tracing out certain detail parts. For me, it's where the LED should have gone, and I've marked these with red marker, as you can see here. Once that's done, I stuck the RGB LED strips with some contact glue on it and wired it up. Once that was all layered up, I took the template of the front face and I cut that out of foam again and stuck that on there, so that for my next step I'll have some working space. I've embedded the LED strips now into the foam. It looks like it because I'm working outside, but the LED strips are still on the first layer of foam. So this is the second layer we're sticking on now. Now I have some room to grab some of these moldable plastic pallets. Everybody knows these by now. These are just plastic small pellets. When you expose them to a lot of heat, they become very moldable. You can make all shapes and forms out of it, and I'm just rolling it up and getting them into the raw shape that I need to stick them right in that recessed area, so that my LED strips will be covered and creating this kind of diffuse effect. Once I stuck all that plastic in the recessed area, I used a small roller to kind of even everything out. You can take all the time you want. If the plastic has cooled down a bit, then it becomes a little bit more hard. Then you can just grab your heat gun again and go over it a couple of times, and it becomes a lot more soft then, and then you can apply the roller again. Now it will look something like this, and this is really ugly because we just slapped that plastic in, and you know, it's just that the LED strips are covered so that you'll get a nice glow effect in the end. What I did now is the same step. I grabbed that template again, but I increased it by 5% using Pepakura. Why did I increase it 5%? Because our model is kind of bigger now because we stacked layers on it. So my template has to get a little bit bigger, so that's why I only did it with 5%. Once I've enlarged it with 5%, I drew it out of foam. I traced it onto foam again. I cut that out, exposing the holes so the LEDs could shine through, and then I stuck that on using that same old contact glue. Now when I hook it up, it should look something like this. I hooked it up to an Arduino with a basic fading code. I'll have a video on that later, some basic Arduino programming, so look out for that one. Now, of course, because we've been stacking layers onto layers onto layers, it's looking kind of gnarly because, you know, the edges don't all line up properly, and you see all the corners of the foam. So we grab that old trusted Dremel and we Dremel it all away and have it looking nice and curved and smooth. And if you're wondering what kind of Dremel attachments I've used, I use these sanding drums. This is the kind of bigger ones. It has a 60 grit drum. This is a smaller one. I use that for the finer, harder to reach details. Once I've removed all of the foam that I wanted to remove, I go over it with the heat gun. This kind of melts all that peach fuzz, and once I've done the heat gun, I use one of these. This is one of the stone bits, and with this one you can really smooth it out. You can spend as much time on this as you want. You can really go nuts with the Dremel, just don't go too nuts, because in the end you won't have any foam left. And once that's all done, you can grab some of that acrylic caulking and you can start filling up all the gaps you might have had. Usually some imperfections going around, so fill that up, grab a cup of water, dip your finger in that and go along over those edges. The acrylic caulking reacts to water, so it's really easy to spread that around and fill up those gaps. And there you go. Then there were 2 already. Space Lord's Lyric has 4 of these, so I really have to get busy and craft another 2 of these. And once those are finished, I have some parts 3D printed, and this is actually the blade end of his mallet, and that just sticks on right like that, and then it looks something like this on all 4 sides. His staff is going to be huge. It's going to be a 2-meter long staff. It'll have 3D printed parts like this. This is the bottom of his staff. So this is a pretty big project, and I'm going to document it all, and I'll show you how to make some cool props. This could have been made out of foam, but you know, I have a 3D printer, so I was lazy. But I still love my foam, so that's why I did the heads, and I'm going to put some electronics in here and probably some smoke machines, so that's why I opted for foam, and also to show you guys a thing or two. So I hope you learned something from this video on how to layer foam and getting details that way. You can, if you're wondering about getting ideas for the detailing, you can always get those out of the textures from the game. They're pretty detailed, but that's a way for game developers to put in a lot of detail into their models just by working it into the texture, so they don't have to model it. And games like League of Legends and Heroes of the Storm are a great example for that. But usually there's a load of concept art or in-game textures you could find, and these work out great. So that was it for this video. I gotta get cracking and make 2 more of these. So I'll see you in the next one. And if you got any questions on whatever subject, put them in the comments below. And I'll see you in the next video. How to layer your foam in this week's video. I'm going to show you how to these. So that was it for this, and my next video.